Hey, Doc Sports, it's me, Detroit Lenny here, joined with Scott Spreitzer to talk some college football action. Top 5 dark horses to make the college football playoffs. That's what Scott's put together. We got a whole list here. There's 5 teams to go through, so we're going to kind of hurry this up along the way. So don't forget, guys, real quick, let me pay some housekeeping bills. New customers, free $60 account, docsports.com/free60. Link is in the description of the video. Head over there, get yourself a free $60 account. Use it on Scott's premium plays. That's where you get the good stuff. That's why I say you get the secret sauce when you get in there on those premium plays, so to speak. Also, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Drop in the comment section. You got a dark horse that's going to make the college football playoffs? Drop it in the comment section. We want to know why as well. Don't just say, Boise, because you like Boise, although they got great turf. But we're going to get into that. Top 5. Here we go. Scott Spreitzer. First one you got on your list, Iowa State and the Cyclones.
I am okay, by the way, Lenny, if they say I like it because Scott does. So that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, that's. I feel like
or he
that's
does.
fair.
All right. I don't like it because Scott does. Either way is fine with me. But listen, I want to make it kind of qualify this real quickly before we jump into Iowa State. This isn't about a dark horse to win the national champion. Real quick note. It's been reported elsewhere. Every national champion in the college football playoff era has been ranked in the preseason top 6. 10 of the last 11 national champions have come from inside the preseason top 5. We'll talk about Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Texas, those teams on another video. But this is all about teams that are lingering kind of outside the top 10, maybe even outside the top 20, that I think have a legit shot to make the playoffs if things go right. And you mentioned starting with Iowa State. Let's do it. Upper half or so of the Big 12, wide open. Arizona State, Texas Tech, Baylor, all getting their mentions all over the place, along with Utah. The problem with those teams, Lenny, when I was really looking into it, maybe outside of Baylor, is that those teams have tough road schedules. Iowa State does not have a real tough road schedule, and so they made this top 5. They've got 12 returning starters for head coach Matt Campbell. The question mark there, because I'm a Matt Campbell fan, is when things are expected of Matt Campbell, that's when things have gone a little sideways for this team. But I think he's been around enough in Ames to overcome that issue. They're off their first 11-win season in the history of the program. Strong in the trenches. Rocco Becht is back at quarterback. They do need a couple of transfers to come through at wide receiver, having lost a couple of decent targets, key targets for Becht in the offseason. They finished with 11 wins, as I mentioned. They had a bowl win over Miami, despite a defense that was not even ranked or just inside the top 60. But there were a ton of injuries to that defense, especially at linebacker. They're healthy now. They've got quality athletes that are not injured going into the season. D-line, linebacker. Secondary is a little bit of a concern, but they play that 335 defense. Tough to prep for because you don't see it every week. Opening with Kansas State in Ireland. Not easy. But the road schedule isn't overly tough. So if they can get by Iowa, Lenny, in late September, it's in Ames. Iowa State, I think, has a good shot to be a dark horse playoff contender at the end of the season.
I don't hate that, Iowa State Cyclones. Let's keep it moving here. I'm going to go over to the Big Ten in Illinois in the Fighting Illini. I hate this name. I hate this school. I can't stand. I've never been on the right side of them betting-wise. I'm a Michigan State guy, whatever. Go green, go white. Talk to me about the Fighting Illini.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brett Bielema has kicked my butt a couple of times when it comes to wagers. I always tell people, though, I always start off when I talk about Brett Bielema, kind of like Mark Mangino with Kansas years ago. Those post-Big Ten postseason buffets and benefits, just be prepared he's going to want seconds. Other than that, he's done a great job wherever he's been. Listen, I think the Illini they've got a shot to be 6-0 by October 11, which is their game against Ohio State. It's not out of the question to be 6-0 going into that game. I think 5-1 is the more likely scenario at that point of the season. But, either record before going into Ohio State into that game keeps them in playoff contention. Bielema's got 16 starters back. Everyone's back up front on offense. Luke Altmaier, he's going to do quite well again, especially behind this veteran front. And then the Illini do need to retool the receiving core a little bit. But defensively, the secondary is led by Xavier Scott, All-American candidate. The D-line should be a beast. They got those Wisconsin transfers. They've got a great edge rusher. And if they can get through October 11, the game against the Buckeyes, at least 5-2, they have a really good shot of winning their final 5 games. Not difficult down the stretch. I think this team is going 10-2, and if they do, they'll be in the playoffs.
You know, for every reason you just said, I would agree with that. But because of past history, I'm bitter with Illinois. So it's no for me, but I appreciate it. We're going to move on. Third one, dark horse, top 5 dark horses make the playoffs, not to win the whole thing. Make the playoffs. Be clear about that. Nebraska and the Cornhuskers staying in the Big Ten. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, by the way, if you see me shaking, we're not having an earthquake in Las Vegas. It's me getting used to a new desk. I don't know if the camera's shaking or not. Keep bumping my knee on the desk. But listen, Matt Rule, if he holds to form in year 3, this could be a bust-out season for the Cornhuskers. Rule had his bust-out years in year 3 at both Temple and Baylor, as everybody knows by now. And he has the talent on this team and finally a legit OC in Dana Holgerson, who came aboard midseason last year, never really was able to call this his offense until down the stretch, last 3 games of the season. And he's got his style of running back. We all know about Raiola at quarterback. He is a Heisman contender, a little bit bigger odds, but a Heisman contender, 5-star QB, strong O-line. They brought in Notre Dame and Alabama transfers, and that O-line, as Rule said, really shined in practice. But Dana Holgerson has his running back, Emmett Johnson. Once Holgerson really took over last year down the stretch, Emmett Johnson ran for more than 5 yards per carry. He averaged over 6 receptions, or right around 6 receptions per game. So he does like to get his quarterback to throw to the running back. He's got the running back who can do it. Strong portal additions from Kentucky and Cal will bolster their wide receiving core. Defensively, there are a couple of players who are going to be sorely missed, but they do return their second leading tackler. And finally, Lenny, the final reason that I have Nebraska here and not USC or Iowa from the Big Ten is that the Huskers are 6.5 to 7 point faves over Cincy in the opener. And then all games, including that one, are winnable except the roadie at Penn State towards the end of the season. They host Michigan. They may not win, but it is winnable. They avoid Ohio State. They avoid Oregon. I like Nebraska to win 9 games this year, and that makes them a dark horse contender for the playoffs.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I like this Nebraska team, and the quarterback's got Detroit Lions DNA in there from his dad, Dominic Raiola. So it's hard not to. Don't forget, drop in the comments section your dark horse to make the college football playoffs. We'd love to hear about it. We'll keep this train going. Boise State and the Broncos, my favorite blue turf team. What are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, and if I could, before I jump into these final 2 teams, real quick, last year, Lenny talked about the secret sauce, and it kicked into gear in football around September 18th. Not around, but exactly. And we finished from September 18th through the Super Bowl 66-42 and up $7,340. Now, if you're a nickel player, that's over 35,001. I know I promised no math, but anyway, over 35,001 for nickel players. So we'll look to keep that going right out of the blocks this year. You can check out all my packages on my homepage at docsports.com. All right, enough of shameless plugs. Boise State, non-power 4. Someone want to take a look at Boise State's schedule and tell me who they're likely to lose to outside of an October 4 road game in South Bend? And maybe they pull off the upset there. Obviously, Ashton Genty is no longer in the NFL, but the Broncos running back room, folks, is loaded. And Maddox Madsen is back at QB. He threw for over 3,000 yards last year. 23 touchdowns, only 6 picks. Both tackles are back up front for this team, and they returned 2 more offensive linemen who would have been starters throughout the season if not for injuries. The wide receiver room, the best of the non-power 4 teams. Boise also plays a 4-25 defense. They've got 4 starters in the secondary coming back, along with an award-winning type of talent at linebacker and up front. I think, Lenny, this team goes 11-1, and they get back in the playoffs. That's one thing I was trying to do. Don't talk about a team as a dark horse that made the playoffs the previous season, but I wanted to go non-power 4, and Boise State's the best of the best.
I don't know who challenges them in the Mountain West at all.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, I want to believe in UNLV. Both of us live in Nevada. I want to believe in them, but I think it's their conference to lose, so to speak. And your last one, top 5 dark horses here. Kansas State and the Wildcats.
My favorite.
I know this is your favorite, so explain yourself here, because I want to believe. I want to be a believer. Tell me about this.
I mentioned in the Iowa State analysis that the Big 12 has a lot of teams that could be considered playoff contenders this year. Having said that, K-State's schedule is not crazy. Roadies at Baylor, Kansas, maybe Utah at the end of the season. Those aren't easy games. We know that. But the home slate isn't overly tough. They've got arguably the best head coach in the conference in Chris Kleiman. I'm a huge fan of Kleiman. They've won 8 or more games in each of the last 4 seasons. The D-line is going to be the best of the Big 12. Solid at linebacker, Lenny. Secondary is a relative question mark. And I mean relative because this team usually does step up with decent depth. And I like the talent on the depth chart. Offensively, the backfield's loaded. Avery Johnson at QB. Real good 1-2 punch at running back. Dylan Edwards and Joe Jackson. And then you got J.C. Brown. He's Johnson's favorite target as far as the passing game is concerned. He's back. They're going to need to develop chemistry in a hurry up front on the O-line, but I do like the returning players on the depth chart, guys ready to step up along with a couple of the starters from last year. That game to open the season in Ireland against Iowa State is going to tell us a lot about both of these teams early on. K-State's a field goal favorite. I'll go on record right now saying that I think they're going to win that game by more than a field goal. You could easily, Lenny, I'm going to mention a couple of honorable mentions here. You could easily, like a lot of people, throw Oklahoma in as a dark horse. Utah's a contender. Texas A&M, USC, all contenders, Lenny. But look at the schedules, especially the road games. K-State has the so-called easiest path or most doable path of all those teams I just mentioned. And that's one thing I think you got to look at is those teams, a couple that I mentioned, might be more talented than 3 teams that I mentioned on this, this dark horse top 5, but their schedules are so tough. So K-State's my favorite of the dark horses we've mentioned.
There you have it. Top 5 dark horses to make the playoffs, not to win the national title. So don't bring that up in the comment section. We've been very clear about that. To make the playoffs here, we're going Iowa State here, Illinois, Nebraska, Boise State, and K-State. There's Scott Spreitzer's top 5 dark horses to make college football playoffs. Take advantage of that free $60 account. That's available. Link is in the description of the video. Get on board with Scott's premium plays. That's where you get all the good stuff, secret sauce. I love calling it that. I'm telling you right now. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Good luck unless you're against us.